so I hear all the ins and outs of the day's activities. But it's my belief the demise of the family has caused really the whole situation. There's kids have no place when they go home at night. Their parents aren't being parents. If something happens in school, it used to be, from the way I hear it, old school, if you got in trouble in school, you didn't want your parents to know when you got home. Hell, now the parents are down there to say, hey, my Johnny didn't do that. And it's a whole different situation.
That's right.
And with the lack of the family, we've asked government to take care of our children, take care of the elderly, and now we're asking the government to take care of everybody in between. And the regular taxpayer cannot afford to do that.
Hear, hear.
Well, I mean, that's part of the issue we're in. And you know, now to try to write that solution, or to write that situation, is particularly difficult, right? Because if you're a believer like I am, I mean, I believe in limited federal government. I don't think that expanding the role of the federal government is going to solve that, which you just described.
I think they caused it.
So, I mean, I think that we have to be very careful about the way we approach this, because, you know, there are those that would say, you know, that we should legislate, you know, some of the ailment that you identify, and I don't think you can do that. I don't think that. I think the federal government can set the conditions for a flourishing economy, can lead by example, and there are some things that the Obamas are doing I think are helpful, right? I mean, they're talking about a healthy lifestyle. I think that's important. We can talk, I mean, that's important. Lead by example, be fit, talk about the virtues of being fit, but I don't think we want our federal government measuring our body mass index. You know, I mean, they're talking about that. Right. And again, I don't think that's ill-intentioned, though. I don't think that they're evil in trying to design that. I think it's just ill-advised, but they put their finger on something that's concerning, because quite frankly, I mean, we need to be better fit as a people. This is part of our challenge, and it's part of our discussion, our national discussion, is what are the appropriate level of action at the local, at the state, and the federal level.
I think it's easy, Chris. Just follow what the Constitution tells you. No one in Washington really follows the Constitution. They all swear an oath.
Yeah,
But
well,
they don't follow it.
and what I'll do is, just to make sure I get a wide breadth of feedback, I'll kind of move around here in a second, but I'll just comment on that for a second. You know, it's in spirit, of course, I agree with that. I'm a wide reader of the founding, and I'm enamored with the logic and the thought process. But we're also products of our experience. And look, when some people ask me, can't we just roll all the way back to the founding? There are certain things that we have to appreciate. The fact of the matter is the 1930s. Here, you know, what happened is you know, we had this acute dislocation. We had this huge eruption in our economy. I have a decided view on it, on what happened. Having read history carefully, you know, we had a recession, and I don't think a depression was a foregone conclusion. I think we took government action that caused the recession to go into a double-dip recession, into a depression. But I bring that up because I want to address your point. So, you know, the administration at the time, FDR, and keep in mind, FDR ran to the right of Hoover. You guys know that, right? He accused Hoover of being a reckless tax and spender. True. He did. Because you know, Hoover ran up a huge deficit, and it had he enacted the largest peacetime tax increase in our country's history up to that point. So FDR ran to the right of it. But then when he became president, he was experimenting. He was dealing with this awful situation the country was in. So he passes a couple big acts: the Agricultural Adjustment Act, the National Industrial Recovery Act, NIRA, and the AAA. And eventually, there's a couple of brothers from New York City that challenged this, because when you look at the NIRA and the AAA, they were giving specific powers to the bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy then limited the number of hours that these brothers could work. They had a chicken farm, and it's Schechter. Have you guys heard of the Schechter brothers?
Yes.
So the government says with this, not the legislature, but the bureaucracy says, you can't even be open more than this amount of hours. Schechter brothers took it all away, went all the way to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, you can't do that. The Supreme Court actually found the first New Deal unconstitutional. The first New Deal was found unconstitutional because of an overreach of the unelected bureaucracy, right? But what happened then is, you know, well, first of all, what happened is that, of course, the administration had a perspective on it. And FDR wanted to pack the court. He wanted to put new judges, because you had 9 judges, and it was perspective. They didn't really understand our country. So he started floating an idea to add 4 more judges to the court. Now, this is a period when people on both sides of the political aisle said, wait a minute, what's he doing? And it started scaring some people, and so FDR backed off the idea of adding to the court. But when the second New Deal went before the Supreme Court, it was found to be constitutional. And why that's important is that set the precedent for bureaucracy to exercise the kind of power that they are in our lives. So why I bring that up is if you say, well, we should just read the Constitution and go, but there's case law that is precedent setting in our country, and we have to recognize that. And short of a Supreme Court overturn, we're just not gonna. It's just not going to be so. So I just want to make sure we get that out. Now that doesn't mean we can't be fiscally responsible. Just like families. In my family, we didn't have a lot of money, but we never spent more than we had. And I'm sure that's probably the same for you. But our government's not doing that. And again, Republican administration, they did that too. I mean, Bush administration, deficits. We had a balanced budget in the year 2000. We had a balanced budget. And surplus. We had a surplus. We actually had a surplus. True statement, Dave. And now we have a deficit. Now, look, it's getting worse. This is the largest deficit on record right now at 1.3 trillion. We're getting worse, not better. So we should also state that. But anyways, I just wanted to address the constitutionality piece of it. That it's a complex piece of it. Yes, sir.
Speaking of constitutionality, what about this war, this huge war that we've gotten ourselves into?
Yeah.
You mentioned that, as a matter of fact, it's one of the problems we want to address.
Yeah.
Can you give your diagnosis, prognosis, and solution?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing on this. It's so important. The thing on decisions on war and peace have to be among the gravest and the most solemn decisions that any country makes, a democracy particularly. And so they have to be fully thought through. They have to be fully thought through. The first order effect, the second order effect. You have to think through it, because once you make a decision like that, I believe, you can't lose. I mean, a country like us, once you make a decision like that, you've got to see it through. Why do I believe that? Well, first and foremost, it's because you make a commitment. Our citizens, you send them in harm's way. You got to see through that. That's a matter of faith, going through that. The second thing is that so much of the world's stability is relying on deterrence. It really is. It's relying on deterrence. And deterrence, there's 2 pieces to deterrence. There's capability and there's will. And you need both. You can have will and no capability, you have no deterrence. You can have capability and no will, and you have no deterrence. Why does North Korea not attack South Korea? It's because they've done a cost-benefit analysis, and they believe that, based on our deterrent, that they'll end up having costs that go beyond benefits, and I think that contains them. So when you go into a country like Afghanistan, and then eventually the decision to go into Iraq, now you're in a position where we have to finish and see it through. So where are we in 2010? Well, I do believe that because of initially a decision that Bush made that I believe was the right choice at the time in 2007, and then a decision that President Obama made when he came in, which was a good choice, which was not exactly as he was running as a candidate, but he came in, he studied the situation, and he said, you know what? I think we're going to have to see this plan through. And I think it was a good judgment call. And now we're in a position in 2010 where we're beginning to reposition. We're coming out of Iraq. We're under 50,000 now. The country is stabilizing. And why? Well, because the Iraqi security forces are in such a state that they can now take care of a lot of, really, they can provide for the security in the country. Now look, there's 2 more key decisions that need to be made in Iraq for that to fully stabilize. The first is, it's Alawi who won the election, and it was a key moment when the Iraqi court upheld that election. Because, if that would have been cooked, they were going to flip that. But they affirmed the election. So Alawi, working with Maliki now, come together with the government so that they can form this cabinet. That's a key decision that needs to be made. There's a second one. It has to do with the oil, and that's related to the Kurds. They're going to have to make a decision on how they're going to work the vast oil supplies in that country and how they're going to incorporate the Kurds. Now, when they make those 2, I got to tell you, Iraq is going to be stable. It's going to be stable. It's not going to be a Jeffersonian democracy. Don't have your expectations on that. But it's actually going to be more stable than the countries that surround it, and it will be generally friendly to us. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. So if your expectation is that they're going to do what we tell them, you're going to be disappointed. Because they're going to make decisions based in their best interest. And who can blame them, right? That's a sovereign nation. So, but by and large, they're going to find that their interests are largely aligned with ours, and we'll go forward. So I think Iraq, I believe that the Obama administration's got the right attitude.